Can you compare this to your brief period of time at, or your 2 years at Stellenbosch, in terms of how would you compare them?
In terms of education, it's completely different. This was way more personal. You actually felt or you made relationships, which is also very important in any business. I would expect relationships are probably the most important thing, and how to speak to people and how to approach people, how to be kind, how to know what to say. Whereas Stellenbosch was just pen, paper and a book. There was extremely boring time sitting in your room going through these notes, which you sort of, in the back of your mind, you know there's certain parts of this work is irrelevant to the real world, or it's not necessary, but you just expected to learn it. And then you go into the test, you sit there with 300 other people, you have no relationship with the person sitting next to you on your left or your right, you just speak to them because there's no one else to speak to, and you write the test, you leave, go back to your room, and then you just wait pretty much for your next class, and then there's big gaps in between working, so it's constantly, there's almost more time waiting than actually working. But at the same time, it is still educational. There is the maths is still with me. I still learned those certain fundamental mathematical terms and so on. So yeah, I guess that part does stay with you.
You spoke about the experience, the kind of the more personal experience. So did you make friends here? How did you work with the other students here?
Very well. Every day, because you're in the same environment, you have the same space, same computer in a way, you're working with the same components, but at the same time everyone's doing their own different project. It just allows you to be interested in what they're doing and them to be interested in what you're doing, and that makes it more fun to do what you're doing, because someone's coming in like, ooh, that's nice, that's working. Whereas in university, no one comes to you and says, ooh, well done, you did that sum, you solved that problem or that formula. You don't get that recognition, whereas here you did.
Talk about your experience that you had with the large scale, let's not name them, but the large manufacturing business that you went to last week. You mentioned earlier your experience of that.
I have to sum it up. Eye-opener from all angles. I left some places happy and enthusiastic, and then I left other places sad to know that there are 100 labour doing the repetitive job and they will never get to run or to be the manager, or their position's almost stuck. And I feel that sometimes with JC around and speaking to him about people and humans as a species, you learn that you start feeling, uncomfortable that we're doing certain things in this world, and that we all have iPhones and that we all just walk around with laptops, because that material had to come from somewhere. And yes, it's genius people that came up with it, and hats off to them, but at the same time there's just so many of us that want that, it starts to almost affect us in the long term.
So what's the next step? Where are you going off next?
For work in hardware, retail, pretty much, instead of in the past few years working in a hardware store, I've always done sales and I've spoken to people and being on the floor, but now I prefer and probably will end up focusing more on systems and trying to make things more productive and efficient. Maybe using what I've learned here to implement small little engineering concepts that can make our lives easier, and then branch out of that business. Fortunately, I have